What's up, YouTube, man? Welcome back to the channel. You guys would know what we do here on this channel, but if you don't, man, we break down scary and creepy TikToks that will give you chills, make you question reality, raise vibrations, anything creepy, spooky, weird, you can find right here on this channel. Like I said, once again, man, I listened to you guys' criticisms. You guys said you guys wanted me to fix my screen so it doesn't take up half of the whole screen when we're watching the video. I did it, man. So got a good one for you guys today. Let's dive on in.
The siblings in this photo stabbed their entire family with plans to kill hundreds more. Michael and Robert Bever were the oldest brothers in what appeared to be a happy homeschooled family. Their 13-year-old sister tried to warn their parents that they were collecting knives and body armor, but they brushed it off as boys being boys. We now know that on July 22nd, 2,000 rounds of ammunition were on the way to the family's home in Broken Arrow. The 16 and 18-year-olds were sick of their life, and they had a plan. They'd quickly kill their family, hide their dismembered bodies in the attic, and then go on a killing spree through Washington State. Around 11:30 that night, April Bever told her two teens that they needed to head downstairs to do the dishes. Their sister Crystal walked in to remind them, and strangely found that their knives were laid out on their bed. Michael then asked Robert if they should do it right now, and he replied yes. With that, Crystal was asked to go look at something on their computer, and as soon as she did, Robert came up from behind and slit her throat. He found that it, quote, wasn't like on TV where you cut them once and they die. From here, the boys presumably killed their parents and then set off to search for where their four youngest siblings were hiding. They first found 5-year-old Victoria and 7-year-old Christopher locked in a bathroom, and horrifically, Michael knocked on the door and pretended he was about to be killed. As soon as his siblings opened the door to save him, he stabbed them 20+ times. Now, around the same time, a 911 call came in from 12-year-old Robert, who was still hiding in the bathroom. To kill him, the boys did the same horrible thing. Michael pretended he was being attacked, and when Daniel opened the door for him, he too was stabbed to death. As we know, the boys then planned to decapitate their 2-year-old sister, but before they could, police were knocking at the door. As canines surrounded them, Michael reportedly told his brother, quote, "It was a pleasure doing business with you." During police interrogations, it would become clear the boys wanted to be more famous than Columbine and did intend to go on that killing spree. The ammunition arrived at their house the following day, but thankfully it was never used. In the end, both Michael and Robert were sentenced to life, despite allegations of abuse in their family. Crystal actually survived the attack along with her 2-year-old sister, and they've been adopted by the same family. Hopefully they are healthy, happy, and healing in their new life.
Former Sydney under...
That is crazy, bro. Story some freaking shivers down my damn spine, man. Whole brother duo was trying to freaking take out their whole family, man. All because they got inspired by freaking that other attack, man. Thankfully, well, it didn't spread because, like I said, all the ammunition came to the house, but it came the next day, so they couldn't do any more damage. But that's just shows you how truly evil and scary this world can be, man. Like, even your own family, you never know. Tell me what you guys think, man, in the thoughts down below.
The world figure Sam Ibrahim has touched down in the city overnight after being released from detention in WA. He'd been waiting there to be deported to Lebanon, but is now free following the controversial High Court decision. The 58-year-old is the most high profile of the 141 released detainees. It's understood he's planning to sue the government for false imprisonment.
Videos that seem innocent but are terrifying when you know the backstory. In 2017, a vlogger posted a video to his YouTube channel called "She's Still Sleeping." He recorded his wife Penny thinking that she was asleep and made comments about how it was odd that she wasn't awake yet. As it turns out, she had died in her sleep and the vlogger had recorded her completely unknowing. Since, the video has been removed. A few years ago, an African gray parrot named Bud witnessed his owner Martin Durham being murdered by his wife. And the following is a video of the parrot mimicking his owner Martin's last moments, begging for his life. The last video shows a news reporter interviewing Stephen McDaniel about a missing woman named Lauren Gidding. During the interview, the reporter tells him that a missing body was found and he mentally shuts down, because as it turns out, he was the one that killed her.
Are you okay, sir? I think I need to sit down. Okay.
So this man over here,
Yeah, he knew what he did, bro, and he saw like with that look on his face, he knew like that he was caught, man, and the shit just the freaking reality hit him. He couldn't take it, bro. And if he can parrot, man, y'all heard when this echoing his last words, bro. Whew. And that vlogger who vlogged his wife but didn't know. Those freaking crazy situations, man. You never know, man. Some could just seem like so innocent, but it can really take like a sinister turn, bro, in any situation. Thoughts down below.
Decided to transition into a woman so that he can avoid going to a man's prison. If for some reason you don't think this is messed up, I don't know what to tell you. In 2016 and 2019, a 31-year-old Adam Graham, who was first a man, attacked and armed 2 women. Adam claimed to have gender issues since the age of 4, but he only started transitioning in 2020 after he was charged. He changed his name from Adam to Isla, and now he's serving time in a women's prison in Scotland. So you're telling me that a man who was charged and found guilty of the RAPE of 2 women was put in a facility filled with women? To me, it's just alarming how no one thought that this would be a safety concern for a woman, especially because of what he was charged with. Someone make it make sense.
Yeah, that's crazy. That case doesn't make sense to me, man.
Hear about this one? This golden doodle up here is named Atlas, and on September 1st, Atlas was taken to Doggy Doodle's grooming to get groomed like he had been several times before with no issues, except on this date, this piece of shit right here, Diego and Hill, took his life. Now at first, he called the owners and told them that Atlas was having seizures and was unresponsive, and that they had taken him to a vet where he passed away. But an employee reported that that's actually not what happened at all. So they were able to get this surveillance footage. There's actually 2 different angles, and for the first 5 minutes, everything seems to be going just fine. You can see them right up there. But then he's drying Atlas, and Atlas is kind of, like jumping back and doesn't really like it. And then he starts punching the dog. And he does that on and off for 10 minutes. He actually drags Atlas off of that table onto the floor and starts hitting him. And then at one point, he gets Atlas back on the table, gets the leash around him, and raises the height of it like he's a really tall dog and chokes him. Atlas, of course, goes unresponsive because he's been choked. And then Diego drags him off the table, gets him onto the floor, and tries to do CPR on him. It's at that point that the other co-workers around him realize what the heck is going on. Now, keep in mind, when all of this shit was happening, there were other dog groomers within steps of him. Nobody noticed a thing. I'm not going to show you the video because honestly, it's extremely difficult to watch. But if you go to this news station right here, you can watch it if you choose to. Now, he wasn't arrested until more than a week after this incident happened because apparently there was a delay in getting the video footage to the police. He was charged with 1 felony count of animal cruelty, and of course he bonded out. His preliminary hearing date has yet to be determined. And despite all of this, the grooming business is still open.
This might be the most...
What? He did that horrific act to that freaking dog, and that business is still open? I don't agree with that. They should have... That turns me the wrong way, man. I'm just trying to say, what was the co-workers? She said they would step away. They really didn't see what was going on. And it was in some that was weird. They said there was a delay getting the footage, getting to the, I guess, for the case. What was that delay, bro? I feel like there has to be something else going on, man. You guys know the drill.
Most brutal way somebody has ever died, and whatever you do, don't look up the picture. Octavio de Silva was a 20-year-old soccer referee in Brazil, and on June 30th, 2013, he was refereeing a soccer game when he sent off a player named Josmir Santos Abreu, who was 31 years old. He refused to leave the field and began a fight with the referee. Abreu threw a punch which made Octavio draw a knife from his pocket and repeatedly stab Abreu. Abreu died on the way to the hospital, and when fans watching the game, including Abreu's family and friends, found out about his death, they invaded the field and stoned Octavio before decapitating him, and then ripping his limbs from his body with just their strength and no weapons.
Oh my gosh.
And then put his head on a stick in the middle of the field. And what makes this worse is that a graphic video surfaced online shortly after the incident, showing medical personnel reassembling Octavio's body. The video and pictures are extremely disturbing, and I don't recommend looking them up. The way his limbs looked after being ripped off is extremely unsettling to look at, because you see strings of flesh, tissue, and bone because it wasn't cut off properly and it was just ripped off. This case is absolutely awful, but why did Octavio pull out a knife when somebody just punched him? If he didn't stab Josue Abreu to death, he would still be alive today. But just imagine being literally ripped limb from limb by an angry group of soccer fans, and there's nothing you can do as they pull your body apart.
This man cut out his neighbor's heart and cooked it with
That kid's getting
potatoes to
chills.
feed his family. In 2022, Lawrence Anderson was given 20 years in prison in Oklahoma. He was convicted on drug charges, but in 2023, he was mistakenly released. He'd actually only served 3 years. On February the 9th, just weeks after being released from prison, he committed one of the most heinous crimes. He broke into the home of his family's neighbor, Andrea Blakens, and stabbed her over 40 times. He then cut out her eye, stomach, and heart. He then took her heart to his aunt and uncle's house, where he cooked it with potatoes and tried to feed it to her. But what happened to Lawrence is totally unthinkable. If you want to know what happened,
He said he cut out his neighbor's heart and tried to feed it to his family. Some cannibalism type deal. What the hell? What's wrong with people, man? You did that horrific act and then trying to get your families in on it, man. Trying to get them to consume that? Whew. Thoughts down below.
This is the moment right before this
Someone.
woman was fatally shot live on TV. Alison Parker was a budding young journalist from Martinsville, Virginia. She graduated from James Madison University, and in 2014 she started working on air. This was for the morning show of WDBJ7. It was early in the morning of the 26th of August 2015 when Alison and her cameraman, 27-year-old Adam Ward, were preparing for a broadcast. Alison had actually just celebrated her 24th birthday and she was getting back into the swing of work. The pair were due to cover the 50th anniversary of the Smith Mountain Lake. In the middle of a live interview though, something horrific would take place. It was around 6:45 a.m. and during the live broadcast a man in black approached. Terrifyingly, he was carrying a gun. Suddenly he fired at Alison and he then turned the weapon onto Adam. He fired shots at the woman that was being interviewed, called Vicky Gardner. She actually thought quickly and played dead on the floor. Terrifyingly, the camera was still rolling and broadcasting to the horrified viewers at home as Alison and Adam lay dead. The gunman then fled the scene. The cameras were cut by the control room and the live feed cut back to the stunned journalists in the studio. They understandably could not process what had just happened.
Crazy.
Police raced to the scene and Vicky was rushed to hospital and thankfully survived her gunshot wound. The other journalists at the news station thankfully actually recognized who the gunman was. They told police the shooter was Vesta Flanagan. He'd actually previously worked for the news station until he was sacked for making staff feel uncomfortable. He had a history of being sacked from jobs due to bizarre behavior and threatening people. It transpired that Vesta had planned out his shooting in detail. He tweeted a confession shortly after and posted a video of the shooting to his Facebook. Police were obviously desperate to track him down, but before they could do so, he crashed his car and unalived himself.
How did you do that horrific act, man? Thankfully she survived, and then like these criminals, they get freaking stupid. They posted it, advocating yourselves. I'm just like, they just really don't care. It just proves, man, how some people, they legitimately, they just don't care, man. Thoughts down below.
records that will make your skin crawl. Zion Clark was born without legs because of a rare genetic condition and dreams of becoming a multi-time Olympic champion. He recently achieved the record for the fastest man on his hands in the world. Measured at a length of 24 feet, Ayanna Williams has the female record for the longest fingernails on a pair of hands. Next, this video shows 20-year-old Karubal Yoma from Ethiopia performing a unique talent as he attempts to break the record for the longest time to spray water from his mouth. He achieved the record spraying water for 56 seconds straight. This clip shows Sultan Kosin from Turkey and Chandra Dongi from Nepal as they're meeting for the first time in 2014. At the time, Sultan was the tallest man in the world, measuring a staggering 8 foot 2 inches, whereas Chandra was the shortest, measuring just 21.5 inches tall.
Those different people, man. They had some weird things going on. Retired vet. Car still there too? All this to get into a safe. And the killer got away? They never even changed the house.
Let's talk about this picture. Captured in 2008 by Daniel Young, this is one of the only pieces of evidence that this encounter actually happened. So Daniel was a custodian at Myrtle Elementary School where he worked the night shift. It's a pretty routine night. He's just listening to music when he's suddenly interrupted by the sound of a woman's laughter. He turned around and was terrified when he saw an unknown woman smiling from behind the corner. This was a locked school on after hours, so clearly she was an adult who broke in, so he tried to snap a picture to identify her and then chases after her. But when he turned the corner, she had already darted out of an emergency exit. Later that night, police are called to a home where they arrive at a tragedy. An unknown woman had broken into a nearby home where she knifed two parents, one who was the principal of this school, so brutally they were unrecognizable. One of the daughters who witnessed this woman before she got away described her as this person. Could this photo be of the same unknown woman? And what her connection is to the school and the principal, we don't know.
This former...
You never know, man. That's crazy. That's the only freaking picture that they captured. Cause she broke in at night. Smiling creepy, man. Oh yeah, those two cases, they're probably linked, but well, you know, we know they are linked, but damn, man. To do that to make the body unrecognizable?
Colombian was just granted parole 10 years after murdering his girlfriend. In 2012, Oscar Pistorius made history as the first Paralympian to compete in the Olympics and earned the nickname Blade Runner. In November of that year, he met Reva Steenkamp, who worked as a paralegal and model. On the outside, their relationship looked glamorous, but texts showed otherwise. Oscar was extremely jealous and controlling. This is portions of a text that Reva sent to Oscar just 20 days before her murder. Oscar was accusing Reva of flirting with her best friend's fiancé at their engagement party. I was not flirting with anyone today. I feel sick that you suggested that and that you made a scene at the table and made us leave early. I'm terribly disappointed in how the day ended and how you left me. Every 5 seconds I hear how you dated another chick, yet you get upset if I mention one funny story with a long-term boyfriend. I do everything to make you happy and to not say anything to rock the boat with you. You do everything to throw tantrums in front of people. I'm scared of you sometimes and how you snap at me and of how you will react to me. From the outside, it looks like we are a struggle, and maybe that's what we are. I just want to love and be loved. Fast forward to Valentine's Day 2013. Oscar claims he's awoken by the sound of what he believed was an intruder. Ultimately, Oscar believes this intruder is in the bathroom, and he proceeds to fire 4 shots through the locked bathroom door. He then grabbed a cricket bat and broke down the door. On the other side of that door was not an intruder. It was the body of 29-year-old Reva Steenkamp, who had been hiding from Oscar because she feared for her safety. Even though neighbors testify that they heard Reva's screams, Oscar refuses to acknowledge the truth. To this day, Oscar denies intentionally killing Reva.
He's set to be released from prison on January 5th, 2024, less than 11 years after the murder. Reva's mother said she is concerned for the safety of any woman who might cross this man's path.
So you guys, I just pulled over to use the restroom, car drive trucks, and look what I seen.
Ooh.
I'm sorry, that can't be real. That's... Oh! No! No!
Imagine...
What the hell was that? So that looks like a freaking, like a body, like they got decomposed or something, man. At least it looked to me, man. Tell me you guys' theories.
being on the phone with your son and hearing the exact moment he disappeared forever. That's what happened to the parents of Brandon Swanson, who mysteriously vanished in 2008. That year, on May 14th, Brandon went out to celebrate the end of classes with his friends. After attending a couple of parties, he decided to drive home. However, instead of taking the most direct route, he drove through a farming road and accidentally ended up in a ditch. Brandon was okay, but he called his parents asking them to come and fetch him. But although they drove around the area he told them he was in for hours, they couldn't find him in the dark. He then suggested they meet in the parking lot of a nearby nightclub and decided to cross a field to take a shortcut. Brandon's father was on the phone with his son, and he suddenly heard him shout, "Oh," before the call was cut off. Brandon's phone was turned off after that, and he was never seen again. Despite the extensive search effort involving police dogs, air surveillance, and hundreds of volunteers, the teen's disappearance still remains a mystery.
Crazy, bro. To hear your son disappear?
Fisherman just got video proof of the Megalodon for the first time. Just 3 days ago, Daniel Gomez, a local fisherman, caught something incredible on video. This started when he set off to his regular weekend fishing route off the coast of Maryland with high hopes of getting some good catches in. Things started off slow, but after 45 minutes on the water, something big caught onto his hook. He reeled it in. It was a 13-pound spotted sea trout. He was super excited as this is far above the average sea trout size. He continued onward to another great fishing spot, but something wasn't quite right. The waves moved in a strange way and everything just felt off, but he tried to ignore the feeling and kept fishing. He kept fishing for 2 more hours but didn't catch anything good, and he was about to head back when in the distance he saw something that made his blood freeze. He saw a 5-foot-tall fin swimming close to his fishing boat. This shark was far bigger than a great white shark. He quickly tried to start his engine, but it wouldn't start. He began to panic and it didn't get better. The huge shark began to swim closer to the vessel. The shark began to circle the boat as if waiting for something. Daniel finally got the engine to start and was about to leave, but what he would do next, he'll never forget. He took his camera, stuck it under the water, and started to record. He believed he captured the shark on video, but didn't look at the video then. He immediately put the boat on full speed and made his way back to shore, but when he checked the footage, he was astonished. This wasn't just any shark. This was a 60-foot Megalodon that he had clearly captured on video. He has just released the video to see it. Press share, then more, then click on Google.
This is a good reminder to double check every single thing
It's real or not.
because in 2019, this couple came home after a week-long vacation to see that there was a stranger living in their home, and he had most likely been living there while they were also in the house. Also, if you like these kinds of stories, you'll like tonight's episode. Upon arriving home after a week away, Josh Campbell tried the front door of his house, but there was a stranger on the inside pulling it closed. That stranger was 26-year-old Ezekiel Zayas, and yes, this is a video he left on their personal computers. The two were able to call the police and eventually get him out of the house, but that's when they saw all of the terrifying stuff he had been up to in the home. He also left them videos on their computers that included incredibly personal information that they had only shared with each other, meaning that he had been listening to their conversations. But the worst part was the knives. Ezekiel had left notes in the house about surgeries that he wanted to perform on the family, like a hand transplant. And when the couple went into their bedroom, they saw that there were knives and other utensils all around the bed. It seemed like he was preparing to do some sort of operation on them. Frogging stories are absolutely terrifying, and I don't want to give too much away, but you might be spooked by tonight's episode.
That's crazy. Imagine going on a vacation You coming back home to complete strangers in your house and you figured he's been there longer. You truly never know, man. Terror lurks around every corner, bro. Your thoughts in the comments down below.
So this murdered Texas couple's missing baby has finally been found after 42 years. And the story is crazy. Let's take a look. So in 1981, Dean Klaus, his wife Tina Lynn, and their baby Holly disappeared without a trace in East Texas. The only clue was from an anonymous caller who said that he had found Dean's car in California. And he claimed that 3 women in white robes drove it from Texas to California. Police were actually able to track down one of the women who called herself Sister Susan, and she claimed that Dean had joined a cult and renounced all earthly possessions. And she wouldn't tell them anything else. It actually wasn't until late last year that human remains found around the same time were confirmed to be Dean and Tina's. Dean had been beaten to death and Tina had been strangled. But that didn't answer what happened to Holly. This year, investigators were searching for human remains around where Dean and Tina were found. And that's when they got a genetics hit that Holly was alive and in Oklahoma. But get this, when they were talking to Holly, they found out that she had been left on the steps of a church in Arizona by none other than 3 women in white robes. Investigation is still pending, and they are really trying to figure out who these white-robed women are. But for now, at least we know that Holly is alive and well.
These calls, man. That's different, bro. What the heck? 3 women in white. It sounds like something out of a horror movie, man. I thought the baby was okay, but freaking parents are gone, man. Truly evil and sinister, bro. Truly, man. If they ever gonna find them, those 3 women in the white robes.
The history of the Bloody Children's Playhouse is one that will haunt you, especially because it's still unsolved. So January 2012 in Australia, the staff of Riverwood Primary School discover a massive pool of blood inside of a children's playhouse on property. This is the actual playhouse pictured here. The blood puddle was over 30 centimeters wide and contained about 1.5 liters worth of blood. That's a lot of blood. So obviously they called the authorities in to try to see what the hell had happened, how this blood had ended up in a kid's play area, and they did some tests on it and discovered that it belonged to a young male. But they couldn't find any matches, they didn't know who the blood belonged to, and this amount of blood was much more than simply a bloody nose or an injury. Authorities believe this would have had to be a substantial wound that this young boy or man had to have sustained in there. They even said that there's no real way that they should have been able to actually walk out of the clubhouse, and that they would have had to be carried by somebody. But this story gets even stranger. So when the authorities looked into recent missing persons cases, or absent student records from the school, they couldn't find anybody that had gone missing around that time. The police also searched through hospital records for that time period because obviously somebody losing that much blood would have had to go to the hospital, but nobody had checked themselves in around that time with any sort of injury that matched what could have happened inside of that cabin. So the police to this day think that this blood belonged to a young child who was probably murdered. But keep in mind, this is a small cabin built for children to play inside of, so adults can't even stand up straight inside of it. There was also no blood trail leading in or outside of the building. Police have searched the areas around the wetlands and all the forests and areas in that town. They haven't found any trace of a child, and no children have been reported missing. So to this day, this is a case that haunts me, that really confuses me, and I'd like to think that there might be some sort of closure in the case at some point, but this is a story that I really think will never have an ending. But let me know your theories on what might have happened here below.
That's a crazy ass case.
Đây là con nấc rất to này, khả năng là vào khoảng 1 tháng rồi.
sorry. That's freaking insane, bro. They have no leash be on you. I mean, it's a kid. She didn't notice, but she didn't feel it somewhere in her nose. That's crazy. How could this like latch onto you? You never know.
Em 6 tuổi. Cái này phải 1 tháng rồi mới to như này. Sợ không? Sao? Lần sau có được đi uống nước suối nữa không? Lần sau có uống nước suối nữa không? Sao cho nó không chịu? Cái này nó không chỉ buồn, xong rồi hôm nào nó cũng chảy máu luôn. Có biết tính Linh à, đeo con 1 rồi. Cháu đeo con 1 rồi. Sao lại uống nước suối nữa nhá?
Girl's not reacting. Ooh. Nothing bad happened to her. That's getting chills, bro. YouTube, that's it, man, for this video for you guys today, man. Like I said, tell me in the comment section down below, guys. You guys like the little layout? Should I go back to the old one, man? I'm open to any and all criticisms. Just trying to make the viewing experience better for you guys. So hit that sub button, hit that like button, man. Let's grow even faster. I will appreciate you too.